you when you're competing against them and you never really talk to them, you have this idea of them. And this is not at all to say like I thought Trevor wasn't a good person. I just did not expect that from Trevor. Like I didn't expect him to be like that, and he is such a good dude, and man, he was so sneaky funny, bro. Like I wasn't ready for some of it.
When the way you said that, I was expecting like a really nice, like almost like an Avery-ish, interview where it was very professional, very like, good and well thought out answers, not trying to say the wrong thing, which I totally understand. You know what I mean? None of the stuff we're trying to do is set these guys up to throw shade at anyone.
Certainly not.
But I just loved how, bro, I haven't laughed that much from someone on our show, I think, at all.
And it was he's just so sneaky funny. The one thing I wanted to just make sure we got in this intro was kind of an observation about him, but about all of these guys is their competitiveness. And it's cool to see some of that cohesion. Like he'll talk about in the episode about all of these different guys he knows from the past, not only on his team, but around the league. And kind of that cohesiveness of just the RMAC in general with a lot of these kids, but they're not afraid to let you know, like, we're here to win. Like, we're here to go at each other. And I love that. I think that's so healthy just for the whole league in general.
Yeah, I think the best part about it was just him really talking, like, just really being open about everything from his senior year, from his freshman year to when his role grew. And like, I'm not giving all the nitty gritty away from it. You guys got to listen to that part, but
it was
just unique to hear some of his answers. Like you say, that one question we always ask him, there's always a different answer. It's very similar. Like there's some very similar aspects to the answers, but they're at the same time very different on what their goals are and just work ethic and stuff.
Yeah, and I've talked about this with a couple people. It's fun to see these guys' mindsets and Trevor specifically, just how you talked about his improvements and his kind of role increasing and stuff, the preparation that went into that, and all of the behind the scenes stuff that as a coach, when you're on that side of it, you see that from them. But I'm gaining a new appreciation for these guys, and Trevor included, of just hearing what their mindset is heading into these important games, especially with a lot of these guys being seniors, or all of these guys being seniors.
Wow, they are all. Wow, I didn't realize that. Have you noticed, like, they all have a professional mindset? Like, they work like a pro?
I think that's, geez, excuse me. I think that's a product of their seniority or maturity.
Yeah.
Like it'd be funny to talk to them as freshmen and see what that interview would be like. But they are, you can tell, like, and this is a reason why these guys have had success at this level, is you can tell they've bought into what it means to be successful at this D2 level and in the RMAC and at their schools or within the conference or whatever it might be. So, I mean, Trevor embodies that as well.
I think he knows what he wants. He's going to set himself to it. That's what I was going to say is, dude, I love that he's a stat guy and a historian of the game, bro. I love dudes that play the game or just devour it, not just what they do, but everything. Like, you could tell he knew his stuff. Like even when we were talking, he's a sports junkie. He's just a sports junkie. When we're doing our pick'ems, where he's labeling off the Penn State coach, and I didn't even know who the Penn State coach was.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie to you. I knew the name, but I couldn't name it off the top of my head like that.
Yeah, he loves. You could tell he loves athletics just as a whole. The one thing that struck me, and we didn't talk about this in the episode, but you can tell from some of his responses and kind of what he was saying that he and that program there at Mesa, they've been coached to be high IQ guys and to have an understanding of the why behind their program. You know what I mean? And obviously the success speaks for that, but just in his understanding of their program, and again, not to get too specific, he has a great understanding of what that program is. And I think that's a product of, you know, obviously Coach DeGeorge, but all of those guys really buying into that there at Mesa.
No, I agree 100%. So with that being said, episode 32. Episode 32 with Trevor Baskins is up next. Hope y'all enjoy.
Colorado Mesa. Was just ask you, like, I know obviously your family has some ties. I know your dad played at Mesa, but I didn't realize in your bio, and you can fact check me if this is incorrect, that your mom actually played volleyball there as well.
It was actually my sister. So she was.
Oh, your sister, okay.
Yeah, so she was 4 years older than me. So when I was in 8th grade up until high school, I would always make the trip to Grand Junction from Arvada to come and watch her play volleyball. But I was still very familiar with the campus coming back to Grand Junction.
Yeah. Was that go ahead.
I'm probably gonna ask the same thing you're asking. I was gonna say I'm sure that played a pretty big role in the whole process of recruitment too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was really familiar for me. I have family who lives over here in the Western Slope in Grand Junction. So I would come here quite often. I would come to games whenever I could. Dad, obviously, I kind of understood that he played basketball when I was younger here, but not until I was about in high school I realized how successful he was over here at Mesa.
So yeah, tell us, and obviously, you know, we want to focus on you and stuff too, but it is cool to hear that you have such a history there. Your family in general just has a history there in Mesa. Talk about what his career was like, because I've heard some things, but I don't really know what the story was of your dad there and what his career was like.
Yeah, so out of high school, he originally went to San Diego State. He went to Steamboat Springs over in Steamboat, and then went to San Diego State for about a year and a half. Played some his freshman year, and then the coaching change happened there, and he just didn't like the situation over there, so he decided to transfer back home. He played 3 years here, and he did quite well. He broke the scoring record and the field goal percentage and all that stuff. All I hear is he didn't pass the ball very much, but he
So did you get to watch? Did you at all growing up? Did you get to watch Ryan Steffen play?
No. I got to go to one game of his when I was in, I think, 7th or 8th grade. He was a senior. It was a game over at Regis, and I was, wow, this guy's good. And I actually work out with him all the time over the summer. We're both from the Denver area. He's a little south of me, but I'll make the trip down to Green Mountain and worked out with him all summer. Nice. Just kind of trying to pick his brain about professional and college and just what his experience was like. I mean, he's a great guy, and we still keep up to this day. He was up here a couple of weeks ago for our parents' weekend and got to hang out. And yeah, it was good. I love Ryan.
What a better dude to learn from, honestly. That dude was an RMAC legend.
Yeah, he's no joke.
I had the pleasure of playing against him for, was it both years that I was at Black Hills Bush?
Yeah, because we beat him your senior year. We almost beat him down there, but we gave up. But Julian that was who it was, Julian Vasquez. right?
Yeah.
Had 24 and a half in the second half. He was
dude,
benched the first half. And then came in and just gave us the work.
yeah.
Wow.
But to Bush's point, Ryan Steffen, man, he's one of those guys that you remember and you're just like, he got it done in so many ways and he knew exactly how he was going to do it. I feel like Ryan Steffen was that dude that he'd catch it on the block and he'd tell you what he's about to do and he'd still get a
Left
bucket on you.
shoulder.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what his bag was like down there. But that kind of made me think, like, that seems, maybe a little bit now, that seems like Mesa's culture, that you guys are kind of just carrying things. I can't remember when Mesa really started to kind of emerge as this power in the RMAC. It's been, I want to say 5-6 years at least. But is that part of the Mesa culture that, guys try and pass things down to players even after they're done playing?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I remember it was my senior year. I committed already. That was the kind of the first year we had postseason success. They won the RMAC tournament over at Dixie. I guess Utah Tech now, but
Oh yeah,
that was
that's right.
that was a big deal. And that team was, I mean, Jared Small, Georgie Dancer, those were the big guys. And then they were mentors for us, all of us young guys, freshman year, where we did really well. But I'm really not sure how we did that well my freshman year. We had great success. And then sophomore year was just those guys kind of passed down the maturity, the expectations of all that stuff. And now we have a bunch of upperclassmen and we got some young guys that we're trying to mentor and keep that culture strong up here.
Key word, yeah, facts. I was just about to say that key word, culture. That's the reason. Everyone, like, it's just a winning culture. Winning is contagious. Like, you don't want to be that team. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be that team that is the bad team. You just want to carry the load the whole way type deal.
No, definitely not. I mean, I remember it was my freshman year. I was talking to Christopher and Reese and all my teammates who were coming in with me. And my high school team, well, we weren't great by any means, but Christopher was 26-0 his senior year. My Reese was 26-0. None of these guys lost in high school. And for me, it was kind of a shock because, like, wow, it's actually kind of nice not losing every game, man. Yeah, I love it. Losing sucks. Losing sucks. I'm not going to shoot it.
How much did you know those guys? Just that class, like you said, you named some of them already, but oh man, the Res Christian kid, Reese Johnson. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name, but like that whole class, you guys came in. Did you guys know each other really well, or was it something where you guys kind of came in and just knew of each other?
So with Reese, he's been my roommate the last 4 years, but we played AAU ball our 17th year together on the Hawks. So we got to know each other pretty well. We got pretty close over there. And I committed before my senior year, and he kind of talked to us like, hey, I kind of want to come to Mesa and all this. And him and George started talking, and luckily he's with us now. And then Christopher, and I guess Christian now, even though he wasn't here our first year, I played AAU ball with them in like 5th and 6th grade, and then just always been close with them. So those guys I knew quite well. Blaze, I didn't know before I didn't know he was going to be on our team until we were on campus. And he was like, oh yeah, this is Blaze. He didn't announce it, didn't do anything. So it was kind of a shock, but he's not, obviously he's over at Weber now, but
yeah.
And then some other guys like Isaac, who was Reese's high school teammate at Res. He came back from CU, and then Owen. We all kind of just grew up in the Denver area, so we always grew up playing against each other in showcases and clubs. So we're all pretty familiar with each other, and we all get along really well.
Man, that's why you guys got that chemistry out there. Like, man, I'll tell you what, man. Scouting for you guys was like, who do we try and take away? Like, what actions do we try and take away? Because you guys kind of remind me of just you guys are the epitome to me of positionless basketball. It's like everybody can handle it a little bit, everybody can attack a little bit, and I remember game planning for you guys sometimes was a nightmare. But I feel like that's where that chemistry comes from. You guys just play so well together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year I was the 5, and by no means am I a post player. I'm not that heavy set, but we're trying to use that to our advantage a bunch this year, having a lot of bigger guys and Mac and I, and then some guys come off the bench. Just everyone playing positionless, everyone setting screens for each other, rolling. Everyone can shoot, handle the ball. So that's it's kind of what we're trying to embrace this year. It's just everyone. It's positionless basketball, and I love it.
I think the missing piece last year, I was thinking about this today at work, was like you just said, I was like, damn, Trevor really played the 5 the last kind of 2 years, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And I really think the missing piece, and it just sucked that it kept happening, was Ethan getting hurt. And every time, I think when he came back last year, and Rags told me, like, yeah, Ethan went down again. I'm like, damn, man, like, that's like, at the time, like, you guys are our biggest rival. Like, Western Mesa's a big rival, but at the same time, like, you don't want to see that. I want to play teams at full strength. I don't like playing teams when the best dudes are hurt.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, his stories, he's so resilient. I mean, he's working his tail off right now to get back. But I mean, it's really unfortunate. I mean, tearing his knee a month maybe or so before our season, and 2 years ago, and then him working so hard to get back, and then in the scrimmage against Fort Lewis last year, hurt his knee again. We weren't sure it was an ACL. We just thought it was just a scare, and then MRI came back, another ACL. But so he's working his way back. Hopefully he'll be back soon, midway through the season. Hopefully he can be a contributing piece. Yeah. He's taking this rehab process really seriously, and then we got some young guys with a little more beef to us. So we have a big roster coming on the bench. So we got some size now.
That's huge. I didn't know that about Ethan. I didn't know he was coming back this year. Just because like you guys, your site isn't updated all the way yet, like your roster isn't up. So I was like, I wonder if he's gonna be there this type deal.
Yeah, no, he should be back. So we miss him, and we cannot wait to have him back. We always forget these last couple of years. It's like, yeah, we've been really good, but we're also missing an All-American center. So it's a nice thing to have in our back pocket, is that we're successful, but we still don't have one of our best players yet. So
Ethan, if you're listening, man, get healthy. We're excited to see you back on the court when you get back on the court. Bush, to your point, I wanted to ask you this too, because I was thinking the same thing of how you have played that 5 a lot, maybe not necessarily all the time, but you've played it a ton. How has that role helped you? Because this kind of ties into 2 questions I had. From year 1 to year 2, if your stats are correct, you had a huge jump in numbers. A huge jump. You went from, hold on, I'm at the wrong page. You went from like 4 points a game your freshman year to, what was it?
13.6.
Why can't I find this now? Yeah, 13.6. Kind of tying that into your role, maybe as a 5-man, maybe some advantages you see at the 5-man. What kind of contributed to that huge leap you made from your freshman to your sophomore and then junior year?
I really think, freshman year I was knowing my role. I didn't really expect to play much. And my role was just whenever Ethan got tired, just back him up. And then sophomore year, Ethan goes down, and I had worked my tail off all summer to try to be a contributing role and try to get a big role. And then when Ethan goes down, it was like that next man mentality. I was heartbroken for Ethan, but at the same time, we got games to play, and I was ready for the challenge. And preparation was big. I mean, just working on my game. I knew there's so many parts of my game that I have to work on. And then from sophomore to junior year, I really just took the weight room a lot more seriously. I put on 25 pounds from sophomore to junior year. And then, just doing the same thing. I mean, 2 workouts a day on summertime, just trying to work on my craft and just be a gym rat. And I credit to the work, and then just trying to take care of my body. But so it's
that's beautiful.
Yeah, so just working that out.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, no, real quick, we gotta introduce him though. For everyone that's listening, we are deep into this. I know we'll say it in the intro, but this episode we got Colorado Mesa forward Trevor Baskin's on the podcast today. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, we're trying to get everyone from the RMAC, at least everyone from every team, just to kind of showcase, help you guys out so you know what's going on. I guess jumping right into it, we've already discussed some things, but like, what kind of made you fall in love with it as a kid? Like, because everyone has a different story. Not everyone falls in love with it right away. Everyone, it takes them, like Matt said, or Avery said, it took him till like 8th grade to really realize, like, oh, like this could be my thing, you know. And what kind of was that journey process for you?
I mean, ever since I can remember, I had a ball in my hand. I think I started playing when I was about 2.
Okay.
Just on a little Tykes hoop in my living room or something. And I'd always play other sports. I always played a bunch of sports growing up, but it always came back to basketball. My dad was my coach ever since I was a kid, and he would always teach me the fundamentals and stuff. And I really just love the game. I mean, I love the history of the game. I'm a history buff when it comes to basketball. I always take pride in knowing more about basketball than the other guy. So I try to get into the game as much as possible. Yeah, I love the videos of quizzing, or the online quizzes about basketball. I take those all the time when I should be studying sometimes. But no, I just love. I mean, it's really my one true love. I mean, I've always loved it. Always played it. Just talking about it, it's the center of my world right now, and it has been.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think, you know, like you mentioned it in your response a little bit, but what were some things that playing with your dad that you really enjoyed that he was able to teach you? Because there were times my dad, you know, coached me here and there, but he never really coached me when sports started getting serious, like into the high school level, you know. So what were some of those things that that you really look back on and you loved about having your dad coach you?
One thing that I always think about all the time was when I was younger and he would coach, he would always work on pivot drills, and it would piss me off. I hated it more than anything. I mean, it would be like warm up, ball handling, left hand, all this stuff. I'm like, man, this sucks. This is not fun. I want to be scrimmaging, and we would never scrimmage. We would just work on fundamentals, post work, finishing around the rim, pogos, miking drills, all the old stuff that he had success with. Form shooting. So I think about that all the time. All the stuff that I hated growing up now, but now I love. I mean, it helps me, and now it's almost like a second nature. I mean, I take pride in having good footwork and stuff like that. And then senior year of high school, just being able to play for my dad and just be able to hang out with him. I thought we did a really good job of keeping basketball at school, and then just him being my dad outside of the gym. But yeah, so I mean, I appreciate everything my dad did for me. Just taking care of me, making me the player I am today, kind of. And I appreciate my mom putting up with both of us, because during the winter time, she wouldn't see much of either of us. So yeah.
That's the life
fair.
of a coach's wife, you know. That's the life of a coach's wife right there.
Mm-hmm. That's the footwork thing. That's funny because you were so good around the rim, and I think, and every kid growing up saying, "Dude, I hate this stuff. I hate dribbling. I hate layups. Like, I want to do something else that's more fun." But when you realize, like, damn, this stuff really paid off. Now it's second nature. Like, you're like, all right, yeah, this makes sense why we have to do it now. I mean, I enjoy it at this point.
Yeah, no, I think that's the only reason coaches have been able to play me at the 5, because I'm not a great defender when I'm guarding guys like Boatwright or Scott. I mean, they got 50 to 100 pounds on me, and I mean, that's usually Mac's job anyway. But the only thing I had going for me at that point was footwork. So
Bo had weight on everybody. That's the thing. That was just he's a
you
brute.
Ain't the only one, man.
You remember Cameron McCurry? Did you ever play against Cameron McCurry from Western?
No, he
didn't. No, he didn't.
He came in a little after me, I think.
Okay, so we
recruited him at Concordia.
Who? Oh. So he was at Western, and he did a drop step, or he was guarding Boatwright, and these two are way, like, I call them walruses down low, just throwing body weight around.
Boom, boom.
Dude, Boatwright gave him a shoulder. Boom! Drop step and took our rim down, and I was like, "Holy shit! I've never seen anyone put Cam McCurry on on his ass before. And when Boatwright did it with one shoulder, I was like, that dude's strong.
Yeah, no, there was a play my freshman year. I was sitting on the bench, and we always expect Boat to be just, I mean, this big, sluggish guy. I mean, just because he's so big. But then there was a play, he came in transition and just back scratch dunked in a transition. I was like, who the hell is this guy, man? It's like,
Yeah.
Right?
He's nimble, man.
yeah, he's extremely nimble, and it's annoying because he's like, okay, he's kicking my ass. He's this much stronger than me, and whenever you even get like just a running head start, he is phenomenal at taking charges, and then you just hate him that much more. But no, he's a great guy, but yeah, hated playing against him.
Yeah, he's that guy that I'm sure off the court he's fantastic, but when he's on the court you just can't stand him because he does all those little things that like just get under your skin, you know?
Right. Brandon, hold on. Real funny thing about
Boat.
Brandon told me this story about Boatwright one time. The first time they met him, they're like, he walked up to him and said, he's like, hey man, do you know how to if what to do if you ever come across like a cougar or a mountain lion in the woods? And they're like, no, what? He's like, you stick your hand down its throat and rip its innards out. And they're all like, what the
Who said
bro,
that?
what? The Boatwright. Like his first time on
wow.
campus, around the guys. And D. Willie said, he was like, dog, what? He threw him all off. I'm like, yeah. You look at him like, man, that kind of seems like a guy that's something he would know. He seems like the wilderness type. What were you gonna ask though, Hilks?
You've mentioned kind of the boring stuff, the footwork, the ball handling, all that stuff, and it makes me think about the importance of having a routine as a player. Have you developed a routine over what is this, year 4 now?
Yeah, it was my 4th year.
4th year. Have you started to develop a routine for yourself, mostly basketball wise, but maybe outside of your life as well, that have kind of helped you stay grounded?
Well, so for like season right now, I'm kind of just in a routine of, we have early morning practices at 6:30 now, which is different from last year. So my routine was a bit different. But I mean, just wake up, get a small breakfast, go to the training room, get taped, do some prehab, get warm, get out of practice, then go to weights, and have class, then eat, and then I'll usually go back to the gym, do a workout with one of my coaches, either Coach Boucher or Coach BJ, and then maybe try to watch film, and then it's only like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock at that point, so I kind of like having morning practices at that point. My day's basically done for. Don't have classes till only have one class right in the daytime, and then just go home, do some homework, rest my legs, maybe do some stretches or something. But other than that, that's my routine mostly for in season, and then off season it's it's much different, but usually it's all revolves around basketball though.
Yeah, that's I like just hearing, because I'm a routine oriented person, so like if something's off in my routine, like for the start of the day, I feel like my whole day is off. And especially like as a player, like I remember getting ready for practice and I had to have my right routine, like with the things I did before practice. And I don't want to hear it. All right, I don't want to hear a word from you. But it's just interesting to hear some other players' routines and kind of what keeps them at that right headspace when they're stepping on the floor.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a routine. I think I'll watch videos about like pros just talking about how important a routine is for them and how important it is for just, I mean, their mental ability to perform well. And I think it's really, really underrated part is just always having, just like, it's safety net to fall back on, that like your brain just like knows, okay, I should be doing this. And then, yeah, so I think having routines just almost a necessity in order to have success.
Yes, indeed. I agree with you.
You need that in college too, because as a student athlete, your life is consumed. Like it's just so consumed. And if you're doing stuff out of routine, I was the same way. If I did stuff out of routine, like now I have to lift every day. I get off work at 5, and it's like if I don't at least try and get to the gym, I feel like a lazy ass. But it's just those little things like that, it just makes you feel like, damn, I didn't do something right today. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, what are practices like for you guys? Like in season, like what is it like? Is it with like Coach George and all that stuff. Because I mean, since he's came in, he's like hasn't missed a beat really with that program, and it's just been top notch ever since he came in. And I did research when he was at his old program, still same stuff, winning. He's a winning coach. So what is he like in practice and all that stuff? Is he like intense, or is he mellow, or?
He's always a very direct coach. If we're not bringing our best effort, he lets us know about it. Just slowly go up and up more. The intensity, the more mad he gets. There's been a couple instances where he'll be mad at me and he'll yell at me for a second, and then it'll just keep going and keeps going, and just then it escalates.
You just know it's coming. Like damn.
But for the most part, we do the team always like understands that if coach is getting on us, we're doing something wrong. So we always do. I think we do a good job of self governing ourselves, kind of. And I mean, he's still a super intense coach. He demands the best out of us every day, but for the most part, we get on each other. I mean, if someone's not performing, Mac lets him know about it immediately on the sideline, tells him to get his mind right, get work on and stuff. So I mean, it's mostly self-governing, but every once in a while, coach has to lay down the law. So he's not a screamer by any means, but he yells when it's necessary.
That's good.
I got two questions for you. One about coach and one about just kind of your squad. First one is Coach DeGeorge. Are you familiar with basketball? Like kind of the analytics stats, like all that type of stuff. Is he an analytical type coach? Does he really pay attention to that stuff?
Oh my God, yes.
I knew it.
Him and our assistant Coach Boucher are the biggest analytical geeks when it comes to this stuff. I mean, they will, and it all makes a bunch of sense. I mean, they've never like, for instance, KB or Coach Boucher and the Coach DeGeorge has preached to us, like they've shown statistics after statistics after statistics on why mid-range shots aren't favorable for us. I mean, he shows stats of like how we shoot 27% from mid-range. Why would we shoot a low percentage shot like that? And then us players, we have to stat certain things about points per possession and high hands. And I mean, almost every player has to go through practices and stat certain categories on box outs. I have paint points, where it's just if the ball reaches the paint, what's our scoring?
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, so I mean, they have it down to a science, and I think it really helps. It helps us know what we do best. Because then in the back of the mind, it's like, okay, what's the best shot for us and stuff like that, and then also helps us prepare. I mean, it's with scout and all that stuff. It's a big advantage. I'm not going to give away all his tricks of the trade, but he gets
no sir.
He gets us very prepared for every game just by. They really have a good system going down for analytics with the scout and stuff. So yeah, big analytics guys, those coaches.
Bush, you got anything? Because I got about 30 questions now because of what you just said.
Yeah, no, I love analytics, dude. I think the analytical thing, like what you just said there, paint touches. Like how great are you guys if you get the ball and you get a touch around the paint? How does that open stuff up? As a player, I would love to know that kind of thing. Like, oh, this is where we're most successful. Okay. Oh, we're not good mid range. Why are we shooting mid? Why am I shooting mid range? That's a bad shot. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So good to have. Hilgs, you can ask one of your questions because
okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, the second question I had that isn't a part of the new 30 questions I have is and I have my guess, so let me throw out a guess first. Who is kind of I don't know, some people call them glue guys, some people call them energy guys. You mentioned kind of you guys holding each other accountable. Who is that person on your team? My guess is Mac. You already mentioned him. My guess is Mac. Who is that? Who it is?
100%. I think every coach knows the exact same thing, says the same exact thing about Mac. Man, I hate playing against him, but man, I would love him as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, his effort is never in question. And he's not necessarily like a huge vocal guy. but he always like people will look at him and they'll be like, okay, Mac's trying this hard. I mean, I got to bring in my shit, or else he's gonna kick my butt all
Mm-hmm.
practice, and I'm gonna be embarrassed, and I'm gonna be and coach is gonna be pissed at me. So, I mean, he's the perfect glue guy. He gives it his all on defense. He comes up with, I mean, almost every game we had that's been close, there's always been a possession where Mac will get a layup or something. He'll fake running back, and then he'll get steal the inbounds
Yeah,
pass,
he does do
a
that.
4-point swing, and then we're up. We went from a 6-point game to a 10-point game like that. I mean, Mac is every guy on the team loves him. He's the nicest guy in the world. But man, do I hate playing against him in practice. I mean, he's just that guy.
I'm sure.
He's the perfect dude because he's the one that's gonna step in and take a charge. He's gonna get dirty. Like that's just how he is. And when they first showed me, like they're like, oh yeah, this Mac, he's not great offensively, yada yada yada. And then you watch him play, and you're like, well, yeah, maybe not, but he makes up for it with the 110% hustle that he does every single possession. Like the kid cares. Like he knows hustle. If he out hustles his matchup, he's gonna bully him all night.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, his role will increase much more offensively this year. He's worked his tail off this summer and this fall, increasing his offensive role because he was always kind of deferring, and he would shoot open shots, he'd shoot layups and stuff, but he was never really a huge offensive guy. So right now we're trying to get him to, capture a larger role on offense because despite, I mean, the last couple of years he hasn't really been shooting or been attacking on offense, but he's a scorer now. I mean, he's pretty unstoppable currently, and I mean his impact is undeniable. So yeah, love that guy.
Yeah, I think his physicality too is such a versatile thing for you guys, and I think your team as a whole is so versatile. That's what I love about you guys and love watching you, and what I would learn scouting report for you guys and stuff like that is, but him specifically, he's like that 1 through 4, 1 through 5 guy that you feel good about. If he gets matched up with this matchup, we're good with it. If he gets matched up here on a switch or whatever, we're good with it because he's going to keep his body in front. But man, I could tell he's that guy that does, like you kind of mentioned it, that sets the tone for you a little bit.
Yeah, and if last year if he did not win Defensive Player of the Year, it would have been nothing short of a robbery. I mean,
yeah,
the impact he has on the game defensively is I think undeniable. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I mean, there's some great defenders in the league, but I mean, there's not a single person that I can think of that has.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I'll put him and Sindhu like 1A, 1B.
Yeah, Sindhu.
Those two in the conference last year were really the only two, and like that defensively, it's like, okay, this guy's gonna lock up. Like you're gonna have to work for what you want to get against this matchup.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, he had the tall task of guarding Scott. I mean, even though we didn't do a great job of it in the one game we played against him last year, that was
still won. I mean,
yeah, we still won. That's all we care about. But yeah, no, a lot of our egos took a dent after trying to guard.
Let me ask you about. I think was that the trip that you guys went on that took forever? Like, were you guys snowed in on that trip? I can't.
Not on
there was
that.
There was a trip last year, I think, when people came up because I didn't get a chance to watch you guys play at BH last year. Oh no, it wasn't that one. But there was a trip where it was, I think, Adams and someone else came up, and they were just like stranded in like somewhere in Wyoming, waiting for the border to open up. I couldn't remember if it was you guys or if it was them, but that's why I asked that because I didn't come to your game, and there was a reason why, because it was like the roads are bad or something like that.
Yeah, no, the only controversy we had going up there was I think my sophomore year, we only traveled 7 guys to go play Black Hills. We only had 7 guys. Yeah, like a couple guys got COVID.
Yeah,
it wasn't the COVID year, the year after, so it was a little strange. But I mean, we traveled with 7. We ended up winning that game. It's one of my favorite games to be a part of. But that was the most controversy we had, was traveling 7 guys to up to South Dakota and made the 10-hour drive back a lot more pleasant.
We
He
I
ain't
want to
wrong,
ask
dude.
you.
Damn, he ain't wrong. I'm looking at this game right now. You went nuts. Jesus Christ. 33 points of course that was one of your favorite games, 13 to 16. You and Blaze had 55 combined. That's nuts. Like, that's crazy. When teammates can go for 50 plus, you're winning the game.
Yeah,
Hands down.
That was a fun game.
I wanted to ask you about kind of this 4-team cluster that started to happen at the top of the RMAC with you guys, Fort Lewis, Black Hills, and Mines. What are what are some of, or what teams do you feel like you had best games against? Do you have best memories against? Because I feel like in any of those matchups, whether it's Mines, Black Hills, Mesa, Fort Lewis, Mesa, Black Hills, like there's been some great games. What are some of those top memories against those other three teams?
Well, for Mines has always been a little thorn in my side. I haven't played great against Mines in the last couple of years. I have one of my favorite memories playing against Mine my freshman year when we beat them in the RMAC championship game. But then there's also the sour side of them not upset. I mean, they're an amazing team, but last year beating us in the semifinals, home court advantage was lost, sold out gym, all that stuff. It was pretty upsetting. I love playing up the Black Hills. The atmosphere there is amazing, and the games are always close and exciting there. Wish we could have gotten the Sweet 16 win against them 2 years ago, but can't do anything against that. And then, man, Fort Lewis games are always extremely, extremely tight. No matter what happens. I mean, last year we jumped on Fort Lewis. We were up probably 20 for a majority of the game, and then we held a quell to a quiet night up until the last like 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and then he hit 5 threes to make it a 5-point game at the end of the game. Yeah, no, that game it was a little nerve-wracking seeing a quell come down the court, but yeah, Fort Lewis games are always, I mean, very physical. We don't really like each other. It's not anything secretive. I mean, I know they don't like us, and I know we the feelings are mutual with stuff like that.
Hey man, that's okay. That's all right, man. Shoot.
Yeah. And we know how good they are. I mean, they were amazing last year. They won we won the regular season. They won the postseason at our gym, which was not fun to watch and see them just being able to celebrate in our gym. But I mean, they earned it. They played phenomenally, and they probably should have hosted the regional and stuff like that. But yeah, just looking forward to more games from all the teams. And I mean, there's some other teams that I think.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Like Metro, I think is going to be really good this year. I mean, they got a bunch of guys back, even though they lost Tyree. They were relatively young last year, and then they got some transfers in. So I think Metro will be really good, and I think there's going to be a bunch of vastly improved teams from last year. But
I think
those 4 teams, I mean, there's always
I think the team that'll surprise people is going to be Shattering. I think they got what, the 5th spot in the preseason poll. So like, for the year that they came off of last year, like that surprised me personally. I was like, damn, they kind of came out of nowhere late, and then this went in or just went on that nice roll. But I wanted to ask you about that game against Mines last year. Obviously, it didn't go your guys' way in front of those big crowds, but I feel like at our level, you know, there's going to be some games, and we all have seen this. There's going to be games where there's 50 people in the gym, and then there's going to be games when there's 1,000+ people in the gym. You know, or like bigger gyms like your guys' gym BH. Like, is there any type of added pressure, stress, like nerves when you are hosting that game, and it's like, damn, this is the biggest crowd we've had in a while? You know, like obviously there are nerves, but is it when the ball gets tipped up? It's basketball, like everyone says, or is, you know what I mean? Because it always feels like home teams like that sometimes struggle.
Yeah, no, I mean, usually, I mean, we're extremely blessed with the amount of support we get over in Grand Junction. I mean, usually our games are, I mean, I think the minimum attendance we usually get is around 1,000 people. Yeah. Is an advantage for us because we get to use it. But I remember that game, and it was an hour before tip off, and there was a line out the door, and just like, wow, this is another level. I mean, this is playoff basketball. I love it. And I mean, that I understand the pressure is. I think it would be different if we never had fans, but I mean, it definitely added a bit of just. I think it just got us more juiced. Unfortunately, we couldn't buy a bucket that
I was gonna
game,
say,
but
let me rephrase that. I guess I wouldn't say pressure, but like hype. Now that you say like that, there's a line out there. It's like there's a lot of hype around the thing. You know what I mean? I guess I'm not. I guess not pressure. That might have been a bad choice of words. Not saying like you guys are nervous, but like just the hype around it. You know?
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that was the most people I probably played in front of. I think it was. I think it was around 25 to 2,700 people there.
Yeah,
Maybe close to 3,000. I don't know. I don't know how many people our arena can hold or gym can hold, but I mean that game was the atmosphere was unbelievable. I mean we tried to make that second half surge and just could not get it done. Could not. I mean, yeah, we did not deserve to win that game. We couldn't buy a bucket. Mines played better than us, and they deserved the win. But we really wanted to win that one and then have an even bigger crowd the next day. So
absolutely, yeah, I get
Mhm.
that. Mine's is always
Yeah.
hard to play. Like me and Tate have talked about this about like the conference every year. Mine, like you know, it doesn't matter. Mine's could be a 500 team, and you're gonna walk in there. If Prior Orser's the head coach, you're gonna get a battle, no matter what. Like
Mhm.
there's very few times where I've ever seen Mines get absolutely just waxed by a team.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I remember it was weird. Mines went through like the little lull in their season last year when we played at their place,
Mm-hmm.
and their gym was sold out. I mean, it was like they had like a couple thousand students on their one side, and it was different. It was a really exciting game, but then like they were a little like they had a little lull in the season last year, but then they picked it up. They started playing
Mhm.
well at the right time, and I mean, they kicked our butts the first RMAC home game of the season last year. Um, and I mean, yeah, you know exactly what you're going to get when you when you play Mines and Coach Orser and all those guys. They're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're going to play solid basketball. They're going to make threes. They're going to they're fundamentally sound and they're also big and strong. I mean, Ben Boone last year was like their two,
Mhm.
and then like Adam was their 3 or 4. I mean, Krasovich was their 5. I mean, they were massive and
Absolutely.
great guys. Talked to them off the court, ran into them a couple times this summer, but yeah, they're great guys. But I mean, like I said, they're a little bit of a rival, so we hate them with
Yeah,
our.
absolutely.
I know you're probably happy not having to deal with Ben Boone or Sullivan anymore.
Yeah, no, Ben, Sully, Trent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Trent.
I mean, even though we only played against Adam for a year, he was kind of like a. We played in the same club when I was younger. He was at B&B. He was the 17U. He was the it guy. And I mean, I really liked watching him play when I was younger. So it was really cool to get to play against him. Uh, it was not fun when he would cash some threes in my face, but yeah, he's the phenomenal player. So I was glad to see those guys go off and do great things. But I'm not I'm not I'm not crying now that they're
Yeah, certainly.
That's how I felt. That's how I was like, dang, man, Sullivan's still in the league. Is this guy Perry Ellis? Like, this dude's
yeah
been around
He's been
forever.
around a minute, man.
yeah
He put up some good years. I wanted to ask you this because um, I talked about scouting you guys a little bit when I was still coaching and all that, and you guys seem to not be a, how do I put this, like a super schemy team where you're um, putting in a bunch of sets and changing up your defensive philosophy or your defensive goals, I guess, on a game to game basis. And that might be wrong on that, but just looking from the outside, that's the way it looks. Is that kind of how it is? And without giving too many tricks of your trade, are you guys a super schemy team, or do you guys kind of really trust in your principles on a game to game basis?
I mean, we really trust in our principles. We'll do slight adjustments. We have different calls um, for different situations and different games. I mean, we have a pretty compact defense that we just solid that
Mm-hmm.
we always do. We never go, oh, we're gonna just straight up deny this game. Like we'll never do anything like that. We'll always have slight adjustments depending on matchups and things of that nature. Like we can't just leave Joel on the block alone, so we'll
Mm-hmm.
have to call in a double or something just to keep them on their toes and stuff. But we'll always do just light nothing drastic by any means, but just kind of prepare for the team and trust our defensive principles and stuff, because we've been one of the best defensive teams in the country the last couple of years, and we're sticking to our guns still. We just we had to pick up the offense at this point now, but we have to keep our defensive intensity and defensive roles.
On the offensive side of the ball, do you guys have a bunch of sets? Because you don't seem like you run a bunch of sets. Like, you run actions and stuff, obviously, to get the ball moving, ball hopping around, but it doesn't seem like you guys are coming down the floor a lot and calling out whatever set you want to be in.
No, yeah, we're not really a big set team unless it's, inbounds or sideline stuff, but we usually have just formats with sub plays because they still want us to be players. They still don't want us to be robots or anything like that. So I think we have a core group of, I guess, rules and laws kind of, but they allow us to play with discretion and be basketball players and make reads and do stuff. But yeah, it's nothing ever too, it's never like you got to run this play 20 times. Yeah, you got to pass the ball 15 times before you take a shot. It's never that. It's pretty loose, and he trusts the players that we have to make the right decisions and shoot the right shots and all that good stuff. But yeah,
it seems that way. It seems like you guys have a good understanding of the type of shots you guys are wanting to get in your possessions and maybe where those shots come from and who those shots come from, because you're that team that sometimes that ball will swing and it'll hit somebody and it's like, okay, that's a shot. And then they'll pass it up and then you're like, oh, why do you pass it up? And then you end up getting a layup. And it's like, okay, this is, you can tell that that's something that's preached with you guys is we're going to keep that thing moving, and we might pass up a great shot, but then we're going to get a great one at the end of the possession because we make the defense move. And so it seems that way, that you guys are coached that way.
Yeah, no, we're definitely trying to, this year more than ever, we're trying to really just try to get out and play in space. We have a bunch of athletes that can make plays in space, so we're really just trying to utilize that as much as possible. And coach always emphasizes giving up a good shot for a great shot, whether that's a one more, if that's a stampede where you drive into the paint, and if you have a slight advantage, you make it a bigger one. So I think we have a really good nucleus of stuff like that, where it's just like we gotta be selfish or be unselfish when it comes to giving your teammates a better shot than what you have.
I thought one of the best actions and one of the hardest actions that you guys ran through my years at Western was the low ball screen down in the mid-range area. You guys would run that ball screen with Georgie in that 15-foot area because it's
out of the baseline, out of bounds all the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and even then too, there would be times where it seemed like Georgie would just kind of slowly back you down into that spot, and then they'd use it, and it's just that's such a hard spot to guard that ball screen because you hedge, you're giving up a layup right away. You go under, you're giving up an easy look, or you're letting Georgie turn the corner. There were so many times where we literally had to sit down and be like, okay, how are we going to treat this? Are we you really had to sit down and how do we, because we got smoked on it one game, and then when coming back, we're like, okay, what do we do here? We have to make an adjustment or else they're just going to kill us with this all game long.
Yeah, no, I remember that play a lot. I remember doing it in practice. Georgie would go down basically to the baseline, and just kind of almost do a baby post up, and if he's just clear out, then I'd just stand there and let him post up. But then I'd set a screen, and it's not like you can go under it because it's 12 feet from the basket. If you go under that, it's you're kind of right in your own you're digging your own grave. But at the same time, I remember I thought it was so weird the first time I was doing it. I was like, what the hell is he doing? Why would I why is he so flat? And then coach broke it down to me because I was just a dumb freshman, so I really didn't understand that oh, I guess this kind of makes sense. I didn't have a grasp on that this actually works. It was a little unorthodox, but that's
If you have players
quite a bit.
When you're skilled as Georgie like that, it's such a killer. It's like you said, pick your poison, man. Are you willing to let him get going on that little 12 to 14 foot mid range, or are you gonna just give up the slip every time? Because there's always someone cutting to the rim. It always seemed like that was one of your better when you guys first implemented that. It was like, damn, how do you stop this?
That was
Yeah.
one of those things as a coaching staff, Bush, that you sit there and we're like, we've been talking about how to guard this action for 30 minutes and we still haven't figured it out. Like, what do we want to do with this?
I'm pretty sure we damn near treated it like a double. We'd be like, all right, if he for some reason rejects and goes baseline, like just big man get there and then help side, you just got to help extra on the big guy slipping, or if he goes around, just like the hand switch, when the guard's touching the big man setting the screen, they'll just slide over like that. We finally had to be like, okay, is this a post up or is this a ball screen? So we just like, all right, post up. Let's just try and treat it like that.
Yeah, no, that's I still don't know how to figure that out. We haven't necessarily done it since Georgie's left. I mean, Blaze did it a little bit last year, whenever he had a smaller guard on him, but we never utilized it as much as, and Georgie always ran it really well. So we haven't done it in a while, but that's definitely that was a bread and butter play a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we both lost sleep over that little action. Trevor, I want to ask you. You said you're Bush. Did you have another thing on that? Because I'm about to switch gears here.
No.
Okay. You said you're a hoop guy. You love talking hoops. You study it and all this. What we've been asking all of our guests this. Who's your NBA team, first of all?
Nugs. I'm a
Nuggets.
Nuggets fan first, and then a Bron fan second. So, like in the Western Conference Finals.
Bush, you love to hear that. I know you love to hear that.
See you guys later.
Trevor, I'm
Y'all
right
can
there
finish
with you, man.
this.
I'm a LeBron guy too.
That's what we like to hear.
This interview.
Yeah, you can leave, Bush. That's fine. We'll finish this conversation.
Real quick. Go,
but no,
wrong jersey.
Who do you like, and who was the other Nuggets fan? I think it was Avery Rembow was the other guy. He thinks the Nuggets are still up there as a favorite to be, the NBA champion or at least be in the conversation. With all this stuff, trading and guys switching teams, all this stuff, who do you like in the NBA this year?
I mean, in the Eastern Conference, I feel like it's kind of just a two-man race at this point with Boston and Milwaukee. I feel like that's kind of the consensus. Because, I mean, I don't think with the James Harden situation going on, I don't know what Philly's going to do. And, I mean, Boston and Milwaukee are stacked in the East. Yeah. And then in the West, I mean, obviously Phoenix got Bradley Beal, and they got like Grayson Allen and some solid role players. But I still think the Nuggets are the favorite. I mean, Lakers I think would be my second pick for second to finish second in the West. And then the Suns, I just don't know how the Suns will function on offense when they have three such ball-dominant players. I mean, maybe it'll work. Maybe I'll be biting my words later on. But, I mean, playoff basketball, defense is always picked up just a little bit more, and it plays to the advantage of the team that plays together and plays off ball and plays all that stuff. And, I mean, granted, the Nuggets had a very tough time guarding D-Book and Kevin Durant last Western Conference semis. But, I mean, eventually their shots stopped falling, and we won in 6.
Yeah. I was going to say, D-Book was on an ungodly level. Like, that was something we ain't never seen since, like, I don't think we ever seen anything like that.
Yeah, Sam on our team, he's from Scottsdale area, and he's a huge Suns fan. Like, his dad, I think, got married in like Suns socks or something. Like, he diehard Suns fan. And his dad was in town when the Nuggets were playing him, and we got to watch a game together. And I want to say it was game 3, and I mean, I was just like, Devin Booker has not missed a shot. I mean, he shot like 80%, all contested long twos, long threes. Like, at some point, he's got to miss. And then he went like 3 straight games where it's just could not miss. I was like, okay, maybe this guy's not human, because I remember Jokic had like the 50 points, like 13 rebounds, the 50, 20, and 10 game or something like that. Like, yeah, no.
What more does he have to do?
That was definitely the most stressful series of the finals run for the Nuggets, was this Phoenix series. That was the only time I wasn't as confident that we were going to win.
Really? Wow. Because a lot of people were scared about the Lakers series, but I don't know. I think what convinced me with the Nuggets, and I was like, damn, this team is like really good, was game 4 in the second half. I was like, the run that they made was unreal. Like I was like, damn, these guys are crazy good. Like even if they lose this game, this is the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, and me being like Bronze, my favorite player of all time, all this stuff, I was rolling my eyes so much when we won the first game, and they were talking about how Rui shut down Jokic in the fourth quarter, and they were like, I'm like, oh, we're just going to put Rui on Jokic, and that's going to stop him. Like the Nuggets wouldn't make adjustments, and they don't have the best player alive right now. It's not going to be able to do anything. I was rolling my eyes the entire time. Kendrick Perkins was pissing me off. I did, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, you know what's how can you be an NBA guy that just has spent your life getting to this level, and then you lose to a man that only plays during the season? Like when it's off season, he is focused on his horses, drinking beer, and partying. Like how I couldn't even stay sane if I'm getting my ass bust by someone who does that.
Yeah. So this is actually kind of funny. So the Spellers, the twins on our team, their dad's the PA announcer. I don't know if you know, but he's the PA announcer for the Nuggets. And when we were in Europe this summer, it was like kind of just. I mean, we were talking about that, and I asked the question like, does Jokic actually not touch the ball? And like over the summer, and he'll go, no, man, he does not touch the ball at all. He'll come back, and like everyone, I mean, the players talk about it like on podcasts and stuff. Like he'll come back out of shape. It'll take him like 2 weeks to get back, and then he's the best player in the world. And it's just, it's
just
he's not human.
It's absurd. Got drafted on a Taco Bell commercial, and he's one of the best big man ever. I think he's the reason why big man basketball is coming back. But you didn't mention a team in the East that I was actually surprised you didn't mention is the Heat. Why?
I think they'll be solid, but I think they lost Max Strus, they lost Gabe Vincent.
That's right.
They lost those guys. I mean, I think Cleveland honestly might be the third best team in the East.
Okay.
I like that take.
That's a good take. That's a great take.
Yeah, so I think Cleveland got better. I mean, even though they didn't have a great playoffs last year, they still have Donovan Mitchell, they still have Darius Garland, they have Evan Mobley, they have Jared Allen. I mean, they have size, they have shooting, and even more with Max. And I think the Heat they just lost some guys. They still have Jimmy and Bam, and I mean they have Tyler, but I'm not sure Tyler Hero matches up with any of the other guys.
No. Not at all.
I agree with that.
Yeah, the only reason I ask that is because we always talk about how like we compare Spo and Miami to Izzo and Michigan State when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Like you can't overlook them. Like they're gonna make a run. Probably they're gonna be competitive no matter what seed they are. They're gonna win 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, and it was kind of like Jim Boeheim and Syracuse for the early teams. Like where it's just like they're an 11 seed, but you do not want to play them.
Yeah.
Michigan State's a much better comparison because no one ever wants to see Michigan State in the
that's textbook. You can always count on Michigan State to pretty much get out of that first weekend in the tournament.
Yeah, except for when I picked and then they lose to Middle Tennessee in the
true.
first round.
Very true. It's the same with Duke.
You know who doesn't have first round loss problems?
No one cares, dude. No one cares about them.
These guys. We sent your coach
packing. I can't even lie to you, man. Like the UNC is certainly more consistent in the tournament than Duke is.
Even though Roy lost in his last tournament first round, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I guess we did lose with that. I want to ask you. You brought up something that I completely forgot about, and was your Europe trip. What was that like, kind of on the basketball side, but also just everything else that came along with it?
That was one of the most fun week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks I've had of my life. I mean, it was amazing. Just going to get to be in 4 different countries in the span of that time, and the games we played well. The competition wasn't amazing. I mean, the game in Paris we won by I think like 80 or 90.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still awesome to go to these. I mean, countries were so pretty. Everything was so fun. I mean, the team got really close, and I think it really benefited us. To get those 10 practices before we left, to be able to play in the middle of the summer, and then just be able to get closer. I mean, our families all got really close. We would go out and hang out in these cities and meet people from all over the world and gain a perspective that none of us have ever had before. Because most of us had never been to Europe or another continent for that fact. And it was awesome. And so it was the
That's
time
cool,
of my
man.
life.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
awesome
got
to
a
hear.
head. You guys got a head
Go ahead.
start then. Like I didn't even think about that. You guys have like a month of a head start as a unit together. Even if you're winning games by 80, that don't matter. Like you're meshing. Okay, this guy likes to do that. I know he's going to be there on defense. You're starting to figure out tendencies at such an earlier time where a lot of like normally you're figuring that out the minute you step on campus.
Yeah.
Because like let's be real, camp week is camp week, and you hoop and play open gym, but you're playing open gym. It's open. It's not.
Yeah.
There's no system. There's none of that going on. You're just trying to play and get up and down, get some runs in. So that's beneficial for you guys, big time.
Yeah, no, it was huge, and it helped the coaches just get a little grasp on what we want to work on, what things we want to kind of emphasize more, and the team really took it really seriously. We were expecting, even though the games didn't end up being that close, we gave it our all because we wanted to give ourselves a genuine look and see what we genuinely look like for the season because we know that this is time that not every team gets. So we really wanted to take advantage and play our hardest so that coaches have a little bit of a baseline of what to expect and what to work on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a cool thing, man. I think those Europe trips and just those international trips when teams try to do them, not just the basketball thing, because I think sometimes the basketball experience can be like what you guys experienced a little bit, competition-wise, but just the memories you guys will have. You guys probably won't even talk about the games 10 years from now. It'll just be like, you guys remember when we were in Spain and, whatever. Like, that's going to be the cool part, I feel like.
Yeah, no, we were in England for only a day, and we went to go see Windsor Castle, and that was cool. Prague was unbelievable. That was probably my favorite city. Paris was Paris. Everyone knows how cool Paris is, but Prague was unbelievable. It was like the cleanest city I've ever seen. It was the prettiest. The architecture there, it was unbelievable. Prague was gorgeous. I would highly recommend, and everything was very inexpensive.
Cool. So you went to England, Prague.
Yeah.
What did you say? Paris, and then what was the last spot?
Berlin. And Berlin was really cool as well. It was very modern. It was really weird to hear about and interesting to hear about the Cold War and just like the Berlin Wall and what it was like because obviously Germany has a very prominent history with World War II and all that stuff. So it was really interesting to get perspective from Germans about all the stuff that has happened in their past and how they're trying to not make up and just try to talk about and really the culture. The culture there was phenomenal, but it was really interesting to see that city, and it was really pretty, and that was a great time as well. They were all amazing cities.
That's beautiful.
So going off that, real quick before we get into our pick'em stuff, what's obviously you guys make goals and stuff, and what's kind of the goal this year? For you guys, what's the RMAC tournament, is there stuff you guys are pushing for past? Is it do you guys have this marked down, or what's the kind of the main goal consensus as a unit for you guys?
Definitely we're not overlooking everything. We want to win the conference. We know the team we have. We know we're returning 16 guys from last year. We have a veteran squad. We have all the pieces we need to do everything. But we're not. I'm going to be blunt. We all want to win a national championship. We think we have the team. We think we have the right mindset. We have the right approach. We're holding each other accountable. We're doing all this stuff. We think we're doing it the right way. But and obviously we're not. We can't wait to play these teams because early in the season we have a big test against West Texas right before winter break. The RMAC is a legit conference. So there's a lot of tests we want to do, but we want to have a lot of postseason success outside of the RMAC tournament. We want to win the conference. We want to. I mean, we want to rack up every award we can get. And we think we have the team to do it. So we can't wait.
That's we love hearing that. We love hearing that, just obviously for you, but we've had 3. You're our third guest now that said something like that. Well, I'm talking about national championship.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know, or those types of aspirations, and I love to hear that just for the conference in general. Like the fact that the 3 of you guys feel so big or so strongly about that, and that's like a real goal for you guys. I think that's so awesome, obviously for you as individuals and as teams, but just for the conference as a whole.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the conference has grown, and I mean, the basketball side of things has grown on all fronts. Each team is very talented and very coached right, and the coaches and players are here amazing. I just hope I hope those guys are wrong when it comes to winning the net.
I respect that, man. I really respect it.
Damn, you guys don't even come up here this year. I was gonna come to a game, but it looks like I'm gonna have to come down to Denver and see Hills. We're gonna have to go to a game.
Yeah, we don't. They make the trip down from South Dakota this year.
Yeah.
So.
Are you guys in Pueblo this year? Do you know?
Yeah. We play Pueblo twice. Once here, once there.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'll be at the Pueblo one. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait.
No, I think just judging off what you said there, like the Hilk said, I think you guys definitely have the squad to do it. Honestly, I didn't even realize you guys returned 16 people. That's so huge. It's just like how BH made their run the last 2 years. I mean, if you really truly sit and look at their roster, it was no turnover in between the 2 Final Four teams. All they did was, maybe they got rid of a couple role guys. They added Ragsdale, and but they kept their core. And with you guys, that already puts a big confidence boost on you guys, because it's like, man, we've been through it. We've seen what it's like on the opposite side when we come up short. Let's not have that feeling again as a unit, and we know we can get there. So just judging by your answer, like Tate said, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we every once in a while when we're tired at 6:30 and we're just like, relax, day's cool. We think back to the time where we got our butts kicked by Angelo State last year in the tournament, or Black Hills beat us in the Sweet 16 or stuff like that. So we just use what our past experiences are to fuel us for this, and not let any slip ups happen this year. Hopefully,
that's cool.
Love that.
Hills, you got any other questions?
No, man. We've been bugging this dude for an hour and 5 minutes.
I know he got practice. He got practice tomorrow morning. So
yeah, and let's get him out of here. This has been great.
So first pick, we got number 3 Penn State at Ohio State. Who you got?
Ohio State. James Franklin cannot beat Ohio State or Michigan to save his life. So.
That's what I see, and that's why I picked Penn State, is because I was like, man, maybe one time they can go into the shoe and get it. But
yeah, I think it's just another. There's levels to that, and they're a level above like Iowa and Wisconsin, but they're not on Ohio State Michigan level.
That's a good assessment. Tennessee and Bama.
I don't think there's any way Nick Saban allows a back-to-back loss to Tennessee. I can't remember the last time Nick Saban lost, and it's at home.
Hey, Hilgs got mad at me for this stat last time, but I know since you're a stat guy, you'll love this. Nick Saban has never lost a conference game at home in October. So
yeah. So that's another stat. I think I saw that.
Mark it down.
Yeah. Utah at USC.
It's at SC. I think it's gonna be very close, and I think USC got their teeth kicked in last week, so I think USC will win. Utah had their number all last year, in the Pac-12 championship and in that crazy game at Utah. But I think USC will get them this year. I think they're a little bit of a revenge game for them.
And then,
and we got to keep Caleb's Heisman hopes alive, even though he's clearly the player.
Yeah.
But he needs to be.
I agree on that. They got their teeth kicked in so bad last week that they might kick the smack out of Utah. But okay, 16 Duke at Florida State, number 4 Florida State.
The only question I don't know if I don't know this, but is Duke's quarterback back?
Oh,
Ooh, let's check. I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't
That's the
know.
old, because I know he didn't play last week when they played Miami.
Wow, that's a
Because Duke's,
good.
Could
Duke's
return 1 day ago. Could return.
Okay.
So it's inconclusive right now.
and
He
it's at
wants to
Florida.
pick. He wants to pick
At
Duke
Florida
if
State.
the quarterback's there. I could see it in his eyes.
Yeah, and I'm a bit of a Duke fan, and for basketball, I guess. Coach, I grew up watching Coach K, so yeah, that Carolina flag was not my favorite thing, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I know that Final Four and that homecoming wasn't your favorite day either. So,
That
oh
was tough.
God, best day of my life. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure. But I'll go. I mean, Florida. Is it at Florida State?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go Florida State then. If it was at Duke, I would say Duke, but I don't know if their quarterback's going to play, so I'll say Florida State.
Beautiful.
This dude should be this guy. You need to be a sports on a sports talk show or some stuff.
Yeah, man,
like
you
that.
know what's going on.
You know what's
Once I'm
going
done with
on.
basketball, I'm debating Stephen A. Basketball's over. Stephen A.
You're
First
coming
take.
for him.
Let's see it. I'm tuning in. Oh, damn, what was I gonna say? Oh, Duke. Yeah. Hey, Hilgs. How do you think they're gonna be? How do you two think they're gonna be this year? Since you guys are Duke guys, and I wanted to ask that with you and Matt last time, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Trevor, because I really don't know. I got to look up this roster.
I mean, I think they'll be legit. I mean, they got flip back, Kyle Kowski, whatever is Mike Wazowski,
Yeah.
anything. But they got Proctor back. I mean, they got a bunch of guys back. And I mean, they're Duke, so they got a crazy recruiting cash. They got Roach back. So I think they'll be really good. I think Kansas might be the favorite. I mean, Kansas is stacked this year, but I think Duke will be. I think they'll be competing for the national title. I think they're legit.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think for me, I always got to see Duke's first few games. Excuse me, especially when they play, in those big tournaments where they got big matchups at the start of the year. And I know it's a long year and things can change drastically, but for me, like, I just remember watching Duke for so many years, and like I could usually tell fairly early on if the team had the cohesion that, like, obviously they always got the talent, like Trevor said, but it's like there were those teams like the Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett team. That team
Wow.
was super talented, but I never really felt like, oh, this is a team that's going to win the national title, to be honest with you. But while other teams maybe weren't quite as good, where I was like, oh, this team can put it together and get it done, and they end up going farther than some of the other teams. So I'm going to defer on this and say I got to watch the first couple games.
Watching the Champions Classic is always a very telling sign on how the season's going to go. I mean, because even though Duke with when they had Zion and RJ and Cam, they kicked the piss out of Kentucky that year.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they didn't win the Natty, I mean they were still legit. And I remember there was years like when Duke was not great with, I think it was Brandon Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
They were like they weren't bad by any means. I mean they were still good, but they weren't great. And I think they lost to Kansas or something. But
Mm-hmm.
I usually Champions Classic and then like the Maui Invitational or the PK80, the Phil Knight Invitational are usually pretty telling on how the team.
Do you know which one they're in this year? Yeah. Do you know which one they're in this year? Are they in the battle for Atlantis or anything like that?
I don't know. I'm not. I think they're in the Maui this year. I don't know if they were in it last year. I think they usually flip like every other year. They go to the Maui Invitation.
Well, they play Michigan State in the champions, and then they don't have a big. Their next biggest non-conference is they go to Arkansas for the ACC challenge.
Okay.
Oh, you guys get Arizona at home. That's going to be interesting. Caleb Love returns to his home away from home. Dude, but going off your guys' question real quick, these guys, I'm not sold yet on Hubie. Really, I'm not 100%.
You've been saying that. You've been saying that for a year or so.
I get they went to the Natty, and I get that, but if you look at that team, like they peaked, and that was the best we'll ever see that team. Like that was the best we'd ever. In even during the year, I was like, these guys they don't mesh well. Like you can't ride that Iron 5 rotation and expect it to win every single game that they're doing. And I think losing Brady Manick honestly was the biggest piece. Like that dude was their go-to guy when they needed a bucket, and because I just really thought Caleb Love was too ball dominant for that team. And two, I don't know, man. I'm just not sold on Hubie's style. I'm not yet. The guys he's bringing in. So like this year, like last year when they were number one, I was like, okay, yeah, that's deserved. They went to the Natty, but then when everything got posted, like they all did their comebacks, like, oh, we're coming back to raise a banner, and then they start beating Portland by 8, and I'm like, okay, this like yo. Like let's focus on basketball and trying to win these games by 20 like you're supposed to, because you don't see Duke or Kansas struggling with teams like that. They put them away, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that irritates me about Carolina basketball is the beginning of the year is so damn stressful, and if they can get on their run at the end of the year in February, then it's like, all right, let's watch them. But it's nothing like Duke where it's like all year you guys are consistently beating the piss out of certain teams, where it's like Carolina, it seems like, Jesus, man, in the last couple of years, can we just win a game by 20?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like with the exception of that run in the tournament, I think they were like a 7 seed or an 8 seed that year.
8 seed.
Yeah, and it's like weren't good in the regular season. I mean, with the exception of that run, I mean, if Carolina doesn't make that run, Hubie might be in the hot seat right now.
Oh, for sure. If they don't beat Duke, they don't make the tournament that year. If they 100%. Don't beat Duke in the Ace, that game helped them get to because they're like, okay, well, Carolina has won like 6 in a row. They're starting to put things together, like, you know. And then last year, I just kind of felt beginning of the year, I was like, this isn't it. Like we're gonna make the tournament as a 5 seed, and we didn't even make the goddamn tournament. And that was like, I don't know what was worse. I don't know what was how big of a roller coaster you can go on as a fan from. I talked so much smack to every Duke fan I knew, and then 12 months later, I have to put my head in the dirt.
See, this is why I like being a Duke, even though the inconsistencies in the tournament happen with Duke from year to year. We never see ourselves in the NIT. So I'll just say that.
That's a lie. Guess who didn't make the tournament 2 years before the Final Four run? Go ahead.
Duke, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yep.
In 2013?
The COVID year. That COVID, they missed because they got knocked out of the ACC tournament because they were so bad that year. Because everyone was like,
that's an anomaly year.
Well, here's the thing. Coach K just had it made in the shade, man. He had great games with a great fan section, and once he realized, damn, I don't have the crazies behind me, things are a lot harder.
Oh, God. This conversation's over.
I don't know about that.
But yeah, no. Like you said,
Trevor, man, it's been good having you, dude. It's I was telling Bush before you hopped on it's fun getting to know you guys, like being in the league and coaching in the league. It's fun getting to know all you guys, and you did not disappoint, my friend. You were a fantastic guest.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. The first couple years I was like, I mean, yeah, this kid's good, but he's a place for Mesa. I'm not gonna support it. But hey, I wish you best of luck, man. Like we are rooting for you. We are rooting for
you. Absolutely.
If you know me, once you get to know me, I like to throw. Hilgs knows this. I like to throw my shots here and there, but it's nothing personal. I do truly think that you guys, BH and Fort Lewis are the teams this year. I'm not until I see Mines play with a new roster. We'll talk about them, but just with the caliber of players that you guys still have, BH brought in and Fort Lewis brought in, I'm so excited to just get this thing going.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was I wish I could come up to South Dakota so I could meet you in person, but I'm excited to meet you in Pueblo. Hopefully, it's after free. And I appreciate it.
I'll try and come down for that game, Hilks.
I'll make sure and catch you after the game, man. But I'm excited for your season. Good luck this season. Stay healthy, and keep things rolling down there, big dog.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know where to find us, people. Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. I don't like going through it because I don't even remember half the things we're on.
Kitchen Hook.
Peace.